Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the SP404 mk2, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. Freshie91 writes in and says, I'm wondering if you have any ideas for how to use external effects with audio from the SP404 in real time. I primarily use an iPad for music stuff, and I have some gorgeous effects apps that I haven't figured out how to route to process samples for my SP404. I'm going to show you some stuff, but I'm going to tell you, you got to be really careful because it's very easy to create a feedback loop. But what I've got set up right now is I got my SP404 mk2s connected over USB to my iPad, and the iPad mini happens to have USB-C on the other side, so this works just fine. I've loaded up Audiobus here because this allows me to do some pretty powerful routing of audio. If you've got AUM, you can use that as well. It is kind of nice because it has some VU meters, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I just prefer Audiobus. It's a little bit simpler, cleaner look. Anyway, turn the isolator off. So right now these pads are going out to my mixer, and that's how you're hearing them. And we don't have anything going into the iPad. So what we need to do first on the iPad is hit input. And I'm going to select SP404 mk2 in 1 and 2. What that's going to do is allow us to have a way to get audio into the iPad, into Audiobus 3. I can play these all I want. Nothing's happening though. So just to show you like what you can do, I'm going to load up Koala Sampler because it's got a very similar SP404 workflow, and I don't know, I like it. It's pretty fun, fast, and I can do stuff like this. If I want to just hold it down, I can just do the drum, and we've just recorded a drum, and I can play it all I want, but we're not going to hear it. But the important thing I want to show you is I can hit over here, and you can see the VU meter. We can see it going up and down. We can select from a different input if we want, but right now it's just set on record from input. The danger here is if you turn monitoring on and you have EXT source on at the same time, you can get into a feedback loop where the SP404 mk2 sends audio to the iPad. Then if you've got monitoring on, it's going to take that, process that audio, and send it back to the SP404 mk2, which is then going to take that audio and send it back. And you will get a tone that will blast your ears out. And I will show you what this sounds like in a second at a very low level where it's like getting ready to do it. But just so if you hear that, I just want you to know, be prepared because it can really get very loud. Anyway, so to be able to hear the audio coming out, we got a couple options. We can do SP404 mk2 out 1 and 2 and SP404 mk2 out 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is nice because it will allow us to actually send audio from the iPad and process it with the SP404 mk2. So check this out. Again, can't hear it, but if I turn EXT source on, I can hear it. I'm going to turn that up even so you can hear it. I can turn the effects here on. You can hear it's being affected. We can do crazy stuff with this. And just it's for me, but to have both of these, it allows you to use both as like little sample touchpads where you can kind of touch things, just record stuff real quick, bounce them between the two and process stuff. So really cool that we can do that, but I'm going to turn this down and I want to show you what happens. And this is only like halfway, but you kind of hear that. Turn isolator. If I put this on, you hear that, I'm going to do it again. You hear that tinny kind of sound. If you hear that, and you're like, boy, that sounds weird. Be prepared to tap the EXT source really quick to turn it off because that is just letting you know that you got some phasing issues, and it's probably, if you go play much louder, it's going to start into a feedback loop. I'm not going to do it. I could do it very easily by turning the volume up. Just be aware that's a bad sound, and it just gets worse. So again, if you're going to be doing these kinds of things, you want to monitor, it's fine because you might want to push something from here over and down, but make sure that you have EXT source off or you also have your monitoring off for like Koala or whatever else you're using, or just turn it off and you can just eject the audio here so it just doesn't progress. You just need to stop that signal from getting into a loop where it spins around forever because it is painful, it's not fun, and nobody wants that. The reason why I just ejected this though is I want to show you something else that will allow you to avoid that loop. Death loop is if you go to 3 and 4 instead of 1 and 2, you're going to skip the SP404 mk2 engine for effects and things. And let's see, if we go here, we're now just sending this straight out. It doesn't matter what we play. We can even really crank the volume to get it out louder over here. We can do all kinds of fun stuff, and you're not going to create that audio loop. And basically it's just because it's skipping the part where it would take that audio and then re-inject it back in for effects. So I know we haven't even gotten to doing any cool effects and using effects yet, but hopefully this gives you the platform to kind of think about and work with, because remember, we can record stuff really quick and bring it over and do all that fun stuff with Koala, similar to how we would do it on the SP404 mk2. And if you want to add in another effect, it's just as simple as, you know, we can go reverb. We can get the eventide black hole. And now we've got all that. And we can still come in and record. And we're going to have all this, like rich flavor, like selection of effects. And you can see we're playing it and it's still going over here. Again, I'm going to turn that off because I just don't want to accidentally create a feedback loop on accident, even though we shouldn't based on the settings. But, you know, we can come in, do that. We got that recording. Let's run it through more effects and things. Now you can see we're slowly losing volume. So this is like quieter here. We get rid of the effect here. It is quieter. The USB-C will adjust the volume based on your fader here. And I don't know if that's something that Roland will ever address or kind of change, but it does mean that this fader, your volume knob is kind of controlling a lot more than maybe you want it to necessarily. I don't have any good advice for that other than, you know, if you want to really crank it to send audio out and make sure you get the loudest audio for USB-C, just don't forget to kind of peel it back down, or, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Don't be afraid to come in and do like edit and like normalize or just increase the volume and on things, because you can go in and compensate for it in a few different ways, whether in Koala or, you know, other tools. Anyway, I hope that helps you understand how to use the iPad, or at least what I would consider a good workflow for using the iPad with the SP404 mk2. Again, like, you're not going to be able to do this per se in real time quite the way I think a lot of people want to do, because we can't like stack audio interfaces and other things with iOS right now. But, you know, as long as you're okay kind of like staging stuff between the SP404 mk2 and the iPad, you can definitely bounce content back and forth and use Audiobus or AUM to control where you have effects, where you're routing audio and all that fun stuff. So anyway, everybody, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good, and peace.